33. War Day 4. A Mad Banquet of Darkness. Today was full of surprises. 1. I got the Todoroki brothers back together and Shoto using his fireside. 2. I had my sweet revenge on Ida-kun. I am sure he liked that, especially because the situation was so similar to the Stain one. Although I am pretty sure Stain still did a better job in scaring the living shit out of him than me. Meh, I still had my fun and that's what's important. Oh, and before I forget. 3. I am currently out of my lair without a break and a full arsenal of weapons again. Where am I heading? To the headquarters, of course. Why? Oh, because I planned a special mad banquet in the darkness for Tokiyami. So apparently, darkness is a thing for Dark Shadow and Tokiyami and I am curious what the hell it is. I know that I as a cinnamon roll wasn't able to be a part of it. Although I am pretty sure I befriended the darkness. The sweet and always happy sunshine facade of Izuku Midoriya couldn't, but what about the real me? What about Usagi? That's what I will find out very soon. As I arrived in front of the hero headquarters, I was met with pure silence. I knew that it was getting late and we have currently around 9 or 10 p.m. But this was too quiet. On the side of the building in an alley was the still open hatch for me to go in and just vent wherever I want, and I was searching for the bird boy. To my confusion, no one was in the building. Therefore, I vented to the upper floor and got out of the vent system. If I am going to search for the hero, then I would search for him the eraser way. Once I got to the roof, I started hopping from roof to roof, occasionally using the scarf to get me across the street. This is still so much fun. I seriously need to ask if I could have one of these scarves for myself. Maybe a dark green one or a black one. Anyway, after a good 30 minutes of me searching through the entire city, I found the little birdie and he was not alone. Zero was with him. The moment I laid my eyes on them, I stopped running and approached the edge of the building I was on, stealthy and hidden in the dark. I quickly learned that darkness is my friend and it won't hurt me. In fact, I knew this since I was a little boy. Ever since I learned how to use my dark surrounding and become one with it. This is also the reason why I want to know why darkness is such a thing to them and why wasn't I invited to the cult. I jumped down the building into the alley and got out the main street. There they were. It honestly is surprising that Dark Shadow didn't even find me yet. I used my capture scarf and got Zero from behind. He couldn't yell because of the scarf wrapped around his mouth. With a quick motion, I dragged him to the alley. Fun fact, Dark Shadow and Tokiyami didn't even see that nor reacted to it. I had enough time to do what I wanted to do. Before releasing Zero, I hit a pressure point, making him unconscious. I then used his tape and taped him right to the wall. It was a funny sight. He was hanging there like a spider's victim. I also made sure I taped his mouth shut. Then I climbed up to the roof and dropped a blood grenade into the alley. Once it determined it, the boy, including his surrounding, was covered in fake blood. Have fun getting him down, oh my dear fellow heroes. This took me only about 30 minutes and I could hear Tokiyami searching for his missing comrade. Too bad, you won't find him. I began running and roof hopping again until I could see the bird boy a few houses ahead. Nearing the edge of the building with every step I made, and then suddenly shouting out. Me. What you looking for? Surely ain't me, is it? Me. Oh my, it is. With that, I jumped down, landing in front of him with the scarf wrapped around my neck, as my dear homeroom teacher likes to have it. I am pretty sure Aizawa-sensei was proud of me jumping around and using it as it was nothing. I have a feeling he might even ask me a few questions after this whole game ends. Scratch that, he sure will ask me some more questions after this. Tokiyami. How didn't I felt your presence? Even more importantly, what did you do with Zero? Me. Oh nothing, he is just chilling in an alley. Me. And Tilda, why don't you ask Dark Shadow? It's dark and late, so you tell me, why couldn't you sense me? Third paw. Tokiyami's Dark Shadow made himself bigger, ready for attack, but the bunny he was about to fight had other ideas. Izuku. I think this isn't the right place for this little dance of ours. You know what? Come and catch me. With that, Usagi sprinted away into the nearest underground tunnel. He made sure that Dark Shadow and Tokiyami were close by. He led them to a room, a very, very dark room. Once he entered the room, he waited behind the door for them. In fact, it was so dark Izuku couldn't see a thing. He was sure Tokiyami couldn't see as well, but Dark Shadow could. However, Midoriya wasn't dumb. He could still hear and feel his surrounding perfectly. The moment his prey entered the room, he closed the door. Tokiyami was surprised by the sudden loud sound of a door slamming behind him. Tokiyami. Dark Shadow, where are we? Dark Shadow. In a dark room. Izuku. No surprise there, Sherlock. Do you perhaps have another information besides stating the obvious? Usagi was running in circles in a good distance to Tokiyami. His footing couldn't be heard. It would be even hard for Eraserhead to find him in this circumstance, and he wanted to make a statement. Izuku was always able to hear his sensei walking in the classroom, no matter how stealthy he did it. Years of practice is what he had. Ever since he needed to take something without permission from his mother, he would stealthily sneak around the house and take the things he needed. It was second to nature for him to be able to sneak around like that. He needed to be able to sneak. He needed to be able to know how to run fast and how to use the gun. His so-called mother was sometimes lending him to her boyfriends or her friends from the bar. Izuku always needed to do the dirty work for them, either staying outside and watch for anyone or defend them while they were running away from the police or other villains after the work was done. It wasn't pretty, he knew that. It was illegal, he knew that too, but Midoriya never wanted or did it voluntarily. He was forced to do it, or he would be long 6 feet under, and he was preferred to stay above the ground. Tokiyami was having a little panic attack. Not only couldn't he see or hear Midoriya, he wasn't able to feel him, and on top of it Dark Shadow couldn't find him. He was being intimidated. For the first time in his life, he was scared of the dark. Dark Shadow was searching in the dark for the greenette, but to his surprise couldn't find him. It was as if the boy was one with the shadows, and Dark Shadow himself began respecting him as the rightful owner of the darkness. The moment he felt Tokiyami scared, intimidated, and unable to find Izuku, he lost all the will to fight the greenie. He wanted to protect him and would gladly go against Tokiyami if needed. Deku was after all the master of the darkness. Izuku had proved himself worthy in Dark Shadow's eyes. After some lapses around Tokiyami, Usagi took out his daggers, one in each hand, and attacked. One cut to his left arm near Dark Shadow. Dark Shadow didn't even see the attacks, nor did Tokiyami. All he could hear was his heartbeat. Izuku. What happened, huh? Another clean cut on his right hand. Izuku. Why are you standing still? Why are you not defending yourself? He put the daggers away, ran to the scared boy, and punched him right into the face. Izuku was watching them. He could hear Tokiyami's heartbeat and his breathing. The speed he was breathing was quickening. With only able to hear his victim, he was able to make clear picture of his prey on the ground. Izuku. Don't tell me you are scared of the dark? Usagi went to Tokiyami and leaned right into the boy, whispering close to his head. Izuku. What happened to revelry in the dark? Tokiyami felt Izuku close by and tried to punch and fight him back, but he was too late. The boy wasn't even close to him anymore. Fumikage felt more than scared. He was close to a panic attack. He didn't know what to do anymore. This was his first time feeling something like this. He was wondering how Izuku became one with the darkness, the shadows even. Not able to understand this made him scared, but what made him more scared than anything is what he could feel from Dark Shadow. His quirk was drawn to Izuku. He could feel the loyalty of his quirk, the need to protect the villain in the room, disregarding himself. Concluding that even if he would be able to get Izuku his quirk, Dark Shadow would have protected him and stopped his own owner if needed. There was only dread and some kind of light bloodthirsty aura lingering in the room. One coming from Izuku and the other from Tokiyami. Izuku, after realizing that Dark Shadow wasn't attacking him, wanted to test out his boundaries even further. He felt like he was one with the shadows in the dark room. Izuku. Dark Shadow attack. Much to Izuku's surprise, the quirk attacked his owner. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. A blood-curdled scream escaped Tokiyami's mouth. Dark Shadow, upon hearing the command of his master, the Master of Darkness himself, attacked Fumikage with his claws. He teared up the boy's back. It was a long claw mark stretching from his shoulder all the way down to his back. It wasn't too deep, but it wasn't also a light injury. The quirk wasn't done here, no. As Tokiyami tried to somehow protect himself, he curled up into a human ball. Dark Shadow began clawing at his hands and legs. After Usagi couldn't hear the boys scream anymore and his breathing steadied, he came to the conclusion that Fumikage passed out. Izuku. Stop it, Dark Shadow. I think he had enough. Dark Shadow. As you wish, Master. Confused why the shadow quirk would call him Master, he went to the creature and stretched out his hand in order to touch it. He wasn't close to it and he wasn't going to get any further. Soon enough, Dark Shadow's beak touched Izuku's hand and the greenette relaxed visibly and began stroking the creature's head. Much to Izuku's surprise, the shadow felt warm and not cold. The shadow quirk was enjoying it as he was positioning himself for Izuku to pet it even more. Izuku. Why did you call me Master? Dark Shadow. Because you are the master of the darkness and hence my true master. Not feeling like arguing with the quirk, he accepted the answer. Izuku whispering, am I a villain? A true monster? Usagi whispered his last words into his scarf, but the quirk still heard him. Dark Shadow. I don't think so. You are a true hero by heart. If you could see Midoriya's eyes, then they would be wide open by these words. He wasn't expecting a response in the slightest. So Dark Shadow responding him shocked him, but what was even more shocking was the meaning of his words. Izuku. How do you know that? Dark Shadow. I cannot feel any vicious aura coming from you, only sadness and a shimmer of hope. Izuku. Thank you. Do you think he will be okay? Dark Shadow. He will recover from this. Izuku. Help him recover the best he can. Can you do that for me? Dark Shadow. As you wish, Master. Izuku. Please stop calling me Master. Use my name as you did before. Dark Shadow. No can do, Master. I don't want to be rude. Izuku. Aren't you rude by not following my request? Dark Shadow. I would be more by calling you by your actual name or your hero name, as it means useless and you are far from that. Not wanting to discuss this even further, Midoriya went to the unconscious Tokiyami, took out his knife, and slid open his throat. A red mark appeared where the knife had touched his skin. Usagi didn't need the fake blood this time. Izuku's paw. I can't believe I bonded with Dark Shadow. This is unbelievable. How the heck did I manage to do that? It kinda feels weird to be called Master, but this is freaking awesome. Tokiyami will be so jealous of me. Aizawa. Tsukuyomi is out. Aizawa. Red Riot is out. Wait, what? Why is Kirishima out? Me. I don't want to be rude, but I didn't eliminate Kirishima. Aizawa. Recovery Girl said you did because he would have died because of the lack of water. He is currently unconscious and was brought in by ectoplasm. Me. That's what I forgot. Aizawa. You did what, problem child? Me. To be honest, I wanted to torture him, but I completely forgot I had him caged up. I could hear Aizawa sighing and Nezu laughing. I was just sad. I really wanted to use him as a bait. Now I needed someone else. Before I could exit the room, the door flew open and one of Ectoplasm clone came in collecting Tokiyami as he was injured, and Recovery Girl wouldn't let him be on the ground with such an injury. I don't want to anger that woman any further. She has enough patience as it is, and all are either slightly injured or mentally fucked up by the one and only me. No, wait, I take the injured part back, as I did nearly kill Bakugo. I let him take Fumikage with him and went once again back to my villain lair. This time I will go there and find a nice spot for me to sleep.